This live interview was taken somewhere in South America. Only when the footage was later zoomed in and enhanced were they able to discover something strange in the background.
Bueno, básicamente en eso hemos sido convocados para la realización del...
What looks to be some sort of extraterrestrial creature with arms that are as long as its legs can be seen casually walking towards them. Its motives are unknown, but it does not appear to be alarmed or threatening. If this isn't CGI, then this is certainly a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence captured live. This video of urban exploration, published by Backyard Exploration in January 2015, is particularly eerie, because what's scarier than dark, damp tunnels and nowhere to turn? In the video description, Backyard Exploration writes, "As the city grew, much of the underworld was sealed and forgotten. We infiltrate the sewers in search for this lost history. Unlike many entries on this list, these guys mean business. They are decked out with gear, headlamps, ropes, and safety equipment for sewer exploration, and they will need it. The underground is a dangerous place, and if you're claustrophobic, the tight spaces might give you screaming anxiety. Even worse, if you're squeamish, you might want to sit this one out, as there's loads of wading through raw sewage." The exploration shows the bricked underbelly of the sewage system, along with the sewer rats that scurry across the ground and up the walls. Water trickles down from above as the team continues to trapeze through the dark tunnels. The team crawls and climbs through narrow channels to make sure no stone is left unturned, and at one point they even walk waist deep in sewage water, which is sometimes calm, sometimes rushing. In some areas, there are massive amounts of cockroaches skittering across the ceiling of the tunnel. All in all, it's pretty much every phobia imaginable in one. As After Dark said in the comments, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of, this tunnel. But fortunately, this nightmare does come to an end. As the video concludes, they exit the sewage tunnel to breathe fresher air and see daylight again. 3-Minute Box Job published this video in April of 2016, writing, "This is the craziest encounter we've ever had. The people encountered the woman while they were driving. The YouTuber noted that the situation was simultaneously crazy and sad, and the 4-minute video is really crazy as they come. She also leaned so far inside their vehicle that it looked like she was trying to join them. She started showing them her rings and telling them they're real. The guy in the passenger seat was coaxing the woman, laughing, telling her she's crazy and that she needs a nap. She leaned very far in again, and he wondered aloud what was going on. During her next strange string of nonsense, she said she ate a lot of mustard gas. When the guys finally drove off, they were just blown away by whatever that was. Afnan Arash is plagued by paranormal activity wherever he goes, and now not even his home offers respite from the constant hauntings. Even though we don't speak the same language, I can still feel the anger and desperation in his voice as he demands for the ghost to leave him be.
Tak habis mengganggu hidup aku. Hah? Mana?
Afnan stares in disbelief at the table of broken plates. It's hard to tell if he threw a rock or something to break the plates himself or if a poltergeist did it. The right half of the table is not on camera, which makes me suspicious because that's also probably his throwing arm. However, he sounds so genuinely terrified that I think this video is paranormal. This video was supposedly taken in South Africa in April of 2013. Some tourists are fishing when something huge instantly snaps their industrial strength fishing line without any effort. Shortly thereafter, it comes straight for their boat. What the hell was that? water floods the vessel, and according to the uploader, the video was later somehow recovered and salvaged. As for the boat, investigators thought that perhaps a whale had tried to jump over it and failed. It was the only creature, they said, that was large enough to cause that amount of destruction, except, of course, for a megalodon shark. Here's a freaky sighting. Imagine you're playing guitar with your friends when something decides to pay a visit. Published by Navigon in November of 2007, this creepy video shows some dudes practicing in a bedroom. One is playing the guitar, the other is singing, and the third is recording the session. But as it turns out, there's a fourth uninvited guest nearby. As they continue to play, the friend filming the session takes a broader shot of the singer, and towering in the doorway behind him is a seemingly tall man, standing sentry and staring into the room. In the comments of this video, David F.E. writes, "It's a humanoid being about 7 feet tall, not a ghost. Many people have reported them before." Whatever the case, in the moment, the friend filming doesn't spot the humanoid. The three continue their session without any reaction, and the next time the cameraman pans over, the figure is gone. They must have spotted the humanoid later in the playback, a humanoid that was so close he could have touched them. What would you do if you saw this over your friend's shoulder? Is Laney Bens Poltergeist getting stronger? Watch this video and judge for yourself. As usual, the poltergeist seems to be most active in the kitchen.
Activity more and more aggressive.
He has even resorted to ruining their dinner.
Poltergeists just seem to be so frustrated.
Oh, bless them.
And he isn't finished. It goes without saying that Laney and Ben share space with one of the most active poltergeists on YouTube. I don't know if Dave and Andy are becoming more aggressive due to anger, or if their YouTube following is cheering them on. Inside a creepy cupboard full of antique dolls and antiquated photographs lies a poltergeist. Don't let him out. Published by The Haunted One. The uploader shows us that the cupboard sticks and is difficult to open. The cupboard houses a skull, some baby shoes, an eyeless porcelain doll, and a number of black and white photographs. Footage of the room in the darkness shows the cabinet bursting open on its own. Or did one of these haunted dolls try to get out? They're obviously here to possess you.
That's pretty strong because it's not that easy to open. And what's in here are some old photos that I've acquired.
This is the story of the Cage of Saint Osith, published on the website The Ghost Hunt UK in January of 2018. A writer and paranormal investigator by the name of Brad Mack gives a little background about himself and his family of dream chasers who love haunted locations, the supernatural, and investigating the lives of those who stick around after having long passed. According to Brad, he's seen some crazy things in his time as a paranormal investigator, but this piece of evidence is the most terrifying. During the Dark Ages, Essex was basically the Salem of the UK. Lots of so-called witchcraft and witch hysteria, resulting in spirits remaining there centuries later. For 4 centuries, the cage in question was locked up in a single building that had a separate cell for those who were considered witches. You can be sure it's left its mark. According to stories about the old place, one of the tenants who bought the place in the 19th century sold it just 2 weeks after buying it for a third of the initial cost, likely due to whatever he'd experienced inside the home. According to the current tenant, took his own life in the master bedroom after becoming a recluse. Even more chilling, there is an old mental asylum opposite the cage which is also reputably haunted, as well as a haunted 2-door pub down the street. Now to the events that were caught on camera on December 2nd, 2017. During the investigation of the cage, Brad's Mel meter, an EMF measurement tool, kept fluctuating a lot. To add to that, whispers and heavy footfalls were heard throughout the night. and lights flickered frequently. Brad also claims to have been pinched on the leg, and he managed to capture what he calls stick figures on camera. When he tried to touch one of the figures, it recoiled, but the thing that frightened him most was caught on iPhone footage from CCTV at around 3 a.m. This video shows the master bedroom, which Brad calls the most hostile room in the house. Placing a camera and walkie-talkie in the bedroom, Brad and Dave watched from downstairs, along with flickering lights. Brad heard a growl and 3 bangs of a door. Then they called over the walkie-talkies. As they couldn't see one of the volunteers on camera, another volunteer answered that she was right next to her, but the only thing they saw in her place was not Debbie. This is Debbie. This is what they captured on film. Is this a trick of the light? Has Debbie been possessed by something evil? Or is this not Debbie at all, but rather the ghost of a witch? Either way, based on the story of this place and the footage captured, it looks real to me. This video shows evidence of the terrifying unknown, as strange lights were captured in the Tokyo sky on June 26, 2020. Some suggest the lights are not those of unidentified flying devices, but rather of Starlink, SpaceX's satellite constellation, which is being built with the aim to provide nearly worldwide internet access by 2022. These low Earth orbit satellites are mass-produced and work with ground transceivers. Could that be nothing but a project by Elon Musk? Others suggest it's simply air traffic approaching the airport. Redditor Bacon for Life writes, "Well, it is spooky when there's a bit of a traffic jam to come into the airport. Aircraft turn their landing lights on quite high and far out so that it's easy for the tower to identify each of them. Still a good spooky video though. Do you agree with these assertions? Or is this just another thing they don't want us to see?" This video was reportedly taken by a Navy patrol boat off the coast of Chile in South America. What appears to be a gigantic, slow-moving UFO is soon confirmed by both the Navy and a nearby air traffic control tower to not be one of their own. I was thinking maybe this was an ordinary blimp or a helicopter, until it emits some kind of inky mystery substance at the 8-minute 18-second mark. The camera cuts away for a bit, and then approximately 5 seconds later you can see the substance has solidified into a thick, clumpy mass. As if that isn't weird enough, the UFO then detaches itself from the mass, which hangs completely suspended in midair and keeps on going until it's no longer in sight. I have certainly never seen an aircraft do that before, and it doesn't look normal at all. If this is not edited, then I have little doubt that this visitor is from another planet entirely. This video is all the more reason not to work from home. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Big Bo One Jord explains that a friend sent him this clip after he kept hearing things in the middle of the night. He started taking video to catch some evidence of the noise's source. In the video, the friend walks out into the hallway from his bedroom. As he nears his office, something very clearly moves out of view, but it's not clear what that something is. A Redditor who goes by the username Captain Fatbelly recommends viewers to turn up the brightness on the video. He writes, "It definitely looks like a person. I worry about the chance there might actually be somebody lurking around in your friend's house." Other Redditors agree that it looks like a person, while Scary Ninja Gamer says, "Your friend is screwed." We'd have to agree. A YouTuber named Justin Brown has been seeing odd-looking people living in tents near his hometown in Lompoc, California. He is too nervous to investigate the situation in person, so he sends his drone over for a closer look. Imagine Justin's surprise when he discovers an entire colony of strangers living on a riverbed less than a mile from his home. He has no idea who they are, what they want, or why they are so close to a suburban neighborhood, which doesn't seem particularly special in any way. Also, no one can seem to figure out what this mysterious blinking blue light is. Take a look at the way it keeps flashing persistently and tell me what kind of technology you think it could be. Maybe together we can figure out who lives here and their purpose. Visit Louisiana and you might just run into a gator or two, or maybe 1,000. Published in January of 2011, Marvin Carter writes, "This is something you just don't see every day." Carter says this video was sent to him from the mouth of the Mississippi by one of his friends. What you're about to see will make your skin crawl. At first, the river looks normal with dozens of rocks jutting out of it, but when the camera zooms in, you realize those aren't rocks. Then, even more horrifyingly, this little speedboat starts its journey through the sea of alligators. They're all moving about, but the good news is, it looks like they're just trying to get out of the way, not start trouble. While many in the comments agree that this is terrifying, most also suggest that gators generally don't mess with you. Still, this scary video desperately needs an explanation, and commenter Canoeing the Edge of the World seems to have one. He writes, "For some reason, alligators just decide every once in a while to have a little get-together, and they bring the whole family. I think I'll skip this reunion." When you reach the end of the road, you better just turn around, otherwise this can happen. Posted by TikToker Sharpski. The TikToker may have escaped something life-ending at the end of the road. In the clip, Sharpski is traveling down a dirt road in a field at night. As the group drives on, they see a group aligned in a formation at the end of the field. They say the figures look like they have heads. They conclude that they are people and urge the driver to turn around. If they are people, what are they doing at the edge of a forest at night? Well, some in the comments, like TikToker Chris Michael, think these are simply dual targets at an open range. Others require further proof. Neen writes, "Keep driving. I want to see from the safe distance of my phone." But since the cameraman wouldn't have that luxury, I'm not sure if he'd be willing to risk it all for us to find out what's really happening here. If you encountered ghost footprints at your workplace, would you be able to continue working there as though nothing happened? Published to YouTube by Korean channel Saiwon Yoon in April of 2020, the uploader writes, "The footprints of ghosts caught by the CCTV in the recording studio." The surveillance footage shows a recording studio at night. After capturing an odd glitch on camera in a certain area of the studio, which the uploader notes look like footprints, the crew sets up some paranormal sensors to see whether or not any spirit activity exists in the room. As you can see, the sensors are blowing up. They indicate something is moving in the darkness. Imagine sensing a paranormal presence in the studio, something you cannot see with the human eye, and then having that presence confirmed via these sensors. The idea certainly disturbs some sound technicians. YouTuber Hyansik Woo wrote in the comments, "I was also surprised when I watched the video. I can't broadcast alone. I can't go to the studio at night. Would you be able to after seeing this? Because this footage appears real to me." If there was a soundtrack to your nightmares, it would probably sound like this. Posted to TikTok by Hannah Hallett. She writes simply, help? You'd be seeking help too if this Yankee Doodle was blaring outside your window in the darkness of night. Hannah captures what looks like an ice cream truck making a U-turn on her road in the darkness. Well, that's a little odd considering the time of day, but not overly scary. The fact that the truck's haunting children's music is blaring from its speakers, even as darkness envelopes the night, is absolutely terrifying. Who is this ice cream man trying to attract? Imagine this nightmare fuel filtering into your subconscious as you fall off to sleep. Pretty sure nightmares would be a guarantee. This solo ghost hunt turned up some mysterious proofs. Published by Makia Wright in February of 2022. The Ghost Hunter scary video has the trifecta, mist, orbs, and voices. While walking along a dirt path at night in the forest, a strange mist moves in. It's the unusual shape and movement of the mist that makes it so eerie, like a spirit is swooping in. A round orb seems to be flying below it in tandem. The YouTuber says he didn't see it at the time he was filming.
I didn't see that at the time on the camera at all, but it does go by fast.
A second video filmed on the same night appears to have captured a disembodied voice. The voice murmurs, and this time the YouTuber hears it in the moment.
I have to look that back on the camera.
It does not sound like his voice, so whose is it? What do you make of this pair of videos? Looks like a successful ghost hunt requiring further investigation. Parents may especially have trouble watching this dashcam video from Toronto. This father with a baby stroller is about to have the scariest encounter a father could ever experience. He's getting his kid out from some snow when a thoughtless driver goes through a red light and almost takes them both out. The car has some flashing lights on the back, so it could have been an emergency and might explain why they were going so fast. Still, had he been pushing the baby stroller in front of him, this would have been a much different video. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you while you slept? The truth is, they might be. A couple in Bucktown, Chicago, discovered an intruder had crept into their home to take their valuables and to watch them creepily as they snoozed on the sofa. He was captured on a security camera gazing at the couple, Jordan and Jack, from the upstairs balcony while they slept below on their couch during a Netflix binge. It was only when Jack said to his girlfriend, "Why are you at the top of the stairs wearing a white hoodie before we went to bed?" And she answered, "I wasn't at the top of the stairs," that the pair started to freak out. The intruder stood over them, watching for nearly 5 minutes the first go around. Then he went back to snooping through the couple's things, only to return and gaze at them for another 5 minutes. The intruder is believed to have burglarized other neighborhood homes. He managed to get into the house through their bedroom balcony door, which they left open. In fact, he was so light on his feet that the couple's dogs didn't even budge. They slept the whole while at their owner's feet. What valuables did he take? As it turns out, only Jordan's purse. In fact, this was the reason the couple watched the surveillance video in the first place. They'd gotten into an argument about where Jordan had left the purse. Jack suggested she'd forgotten it at the restaurant they'd gone to the previous night. Jordan insisted she'd brought it home. Moral of the story, binge watching Netflix is more unsafe than you'd think. Could that flicker of light you see fast past be someone's soul? Published to YouTube by Tomato Superman to the Ghosts subreddit. This security footage from the Golden Cross Weatherspoon in Broomsgrove in the UK shows just what happens in old haunted places after dark. The security footage reveals a strange, iridescent pink light flash around the corner and down the hallway before vanishing. Tomato Superman says that he's a skeptic but admits he found this odd. He writes that the place has been closed for 3 weeks and that the alarms had gone off, which is why staff came in to check it out. This is what happens in the recording that seems to set off the alarms. He said the security system also started to break down immediately after. Many in the comments aren't sure what to think either, although some lean hard into the spirit world. And could this be something similar? A spirit making its presence known in this place? It certainly doesn't look like your everyday dust orb. Deep inside these tunnels lies something no one was meant to see. Published to YouTube in November of 2016, Connor Does Adventure explains, "We did not fake or plan any of this. We just started recording for a blog and this is what we found." Entering deep into a watery tunnel, the boys start to hear something.
No. I can't.
They all freak each other out and start running towards an exit. At first you think they were just scared and adrenaline caught up with them, but it turns out someone or something was in fact chasing them. Once out in the sunlight, they stand at the entrance before heading into the tunnel the short ways again. A strange squealing sound can be heard, and as the camera focuses in, a figure is clearly seen, although it's unlike any creature you'd ever seen before. It's gray-skinned and alien-like, and it's marching towards them with a determined air. Any ideas what this is? Is it a madman? Or is it a watery tunnel creature? Most importantly, is this thing harmless? Or should they be running immediately? Don't wait around to find out. This dirt road has its own security guard. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in February of 2021, a team faces off with a mysterious figure on a deserted road. As they drive in the middle of the night, wolves are howling all around. The atmosphere is unsettling. As they turn a corner and head down a hill, a figure in a black robe is captured up ahead in the headlights. Wearing a hood that blocks their face, the figure starts to slowly walk toward the vehicle, which backs up in response. The figure continues to approach the vehicle even after it's reversed far enough to not be a threat. While many in the comments are saying the figure was likely not a ghost, since it casts a shadow, others are calling the footage scary and dangerous regardless. If not a ghost, who is this person and what do they want? Rob of Tear the Veal goes ghost hunting in one of the most haunted locations in all of Yorkshire, and spirits reach out to communicate as soon as they enter. And so they set up a K2 meter to measure the amount of paranormal energy in the air. As the numbers rise, so does the feeling that something is near.
Go on, keep going. Go on.
Whoa.
It isn't long before they form a method of communication and begin to get eager responses from something supernatural. This scary moment stands out to me the most.
Is there a portal here? Is that how you can cross over?
Well done, you're doing really well.
Next, they set up a spirit box to hear its true voice, and sure enough, across the airwaves comes a message that they think says thanks for coming, but I hear the day is coming. Which is it? Nothing else is said, and stillness hangs in the air. It feels like something is looming over them, and the camera goes out of focus like it catches movement. The portal's powers seems to grow, and so they leave. Sometime later, Rob returns to explore the same spot at night. It seems whatever they talked to before has come back and knows the routine.
Right, to catch you guys up a little bit, there was another paranormal... He does not want me to talk, does he?
In Rob's other hand is a flashlight, which wouldn't set off the K2 meter, and so I think this interaction is paranormal and real. The ghost keeps interrupting him like it has something to say. Finally, it can wait no longer and lets loose a small screen that barely transcends the boundaries between our world and its own.
Can you set the device off and let me know that you're here? What was that?
What was what?
There was like a crack or a footstep or something behind you. Did you not hear it?
I didn't hear anything.
The EVP is caught on camera and sounds like the ghost of a little British girl replying with these two words, I can.
Can you set the device off and let me know that you're here?
What's scariest to me is how they hardly hear anything. The ghost is wailing as loud as it can, and yet only a mere fraction of its anguish comes through.
Did you not hear it?
I didn't hear anything.
The Hinsdale house in New York is haunted, and these paranormal explorers are about to find out just how haunted it truly is. Early on, the spirits don't seem to want to be recorded.
It's funny here.
The REM pod upstairs starts going off.
Is that your REM upstairs?
Shh. Yeah, I turned it on. It's up in Laura's doorway.
Well, can you hear it?
It was beeping.
It was, yeah. It's going off again up there.
After hearing a woman talking in the kitchen, the REM pod is triggered again.
Are you here with us right now?
You wanna?
So I think she said, ask me or ask me.
The crew is then given a clear message via a spirit box.
I'm gonna take a couple pictures. That's not
What did that say? Run.
Run.
Hey.
When they don't leave, the spirits continue to interact. They even ask for help.
Can you light it up again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Is this what the dandies had to deal with on the regular? No wonder they fled this house. A YouTuber named Chevalier Epstein has heard rumors of an old haunted campground that he wanted to explore. At the end of a dusty, forgotten path, he finds some small buildings that are in relatively good shape for being abandoned. Still, the whole situation looks creepy even from the outside. On a bright and sunny day, when they go inside, they find it's been covered in graffiti and feels strangely unwelcoming, so they don't stay for long. Chevalier decides to turn around and take one last look at the campsite before leaving. Apparently, something was taking one last look at him as well.
What? That door just creaked open. Oh!
Their attention is still fixated on the open door when something much closer makes a noise nearby. I guess it could have been a mouse knocking something over or something like that, but the timing was a little too much of a coincidence for me not to include it on this list. Let me know if you think they really saw the door open by itself, or if this was all set up. Scary scratching from within the basement should alarm anyone. Some would call for help while others would grab their phone, not for help but to make sure whatever's down there is caught on camera. That's what two roommates do after one hears noises in a hidden crawl space of their home.
It could have been anything though.
Nah, I was scared, man. I heard noises. Go ahead, move this first.
Scary cat, dude. It could have been rats or whatever. What about it? We got a whole bunch of rats.
Nah, man.
The one who hasn't heard the noises is brave. The one who has is scared.
Are you going down there?
I'm not.
There's a light right there, dude. You go down there while I record.
There's no way he's going down into the creepy basement crawl space after hearing eerie sounds, so his roommate volunteers to show him up.
Like the light right there, the string. It's around here somewhere.
Open the lights.
Hold up. I can't reach. Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
He squints in the darkness, and that's when he finds the scariest thing of his life.
Hold on. Oh shit! What's that?
1 minute and 27 seconds is when I can barely make out a shadow figure straightening up to greet him. He's screaming and the video ends before we get to see if he escapes from the crawl space before it reaches him. The man sees a ghost hiding in his basement according to the title of this video, but I'm not so sure the supernatural is what he's caught on camera. Something scary is in his basement crawl space for sure, but think about it.
Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
Why would there be a chair positioned directly under his crawl space entrance, unless somebody has been using it to climb into their home? I don't think this is a ghost haunting the basement. I think this is an insanely scary stranger encounter caught on video. Anyway, that's my analysis, but what do you make of this strange sighting? Do you hear that? Published by Indra Saputra Official in April of 2022, someone is singing in this abandoned building. As Indra flashes his flashlight in the room, speaking to the voice, the sing-song continues for a moment, but then all is quiet.
Sandra, aku bisa nggak? Ini aku, tuh. Setelah aku nggak bisa bro, aku nggak main di center. Nah, katanya lama.
But then, when Indra tries to open the door, he can't get out. His camera light goes out and then starts flashing. As he turns around in the empty room, it's no longer empty. The light goes off again, and Indra is singing in the dark by himself for a time. The ghost girl is gone. What frights does this place hold? A demon sing-along doesn't sound like a good idea. A YouTuber named Snakebit McGee makes a vlog in which he talks about 2 scary discoveries he made while exploring the desert.
And there's a hole here that just goes way down. I'll show you that. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm looking for a cave, and something about that cave just spooked me out of all the caves I've ever gone in.
He just found an abandoned mine, but what he really wants to find is an M-shaped cave that scared him before. His subscribers are interested and tell him he needs to go back and find the cave to make another video and maybe go exploring the abandoned mine too while he's at it. He agrees and goes out a second time to find the cave, but sadly never returns. His body is never found and nobody knows what happened to him. Watching this video while knowing he's still missing makes this even more eerie, especially this part.
I'll just show you. Down inside that hole, it goes way, way, way down there. Let me see if I can. That's pretty far.
It's scary to think that he's joking about something that might have seriously happened to him much later upon his second return. To this day, nobody knows what happened to him. A bizarre dashcam video has caught some weird moments on the highway in Puerto Rico. This driver has their door open while going full speed. It looks like they've somehow forgotten to close it until 22 seconds when a hand reaches over to make sure it doesn't fly all the way open during a turn. I guess the door was broken or something, in which case they really should pull over because that is incredibly unsafe. Hopefully they never have to make a sharp turn or else somebody is spilling out onto the road. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for sure a keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, look at, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other. before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away, while the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape, but the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the two others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found. YouTuber Chad Miller found a secret room in the attic of his house. "You don't see this every day," he writes. "You certainly don't." It looks like Chad is just moving into a new house, and now the fun begins. It's time to explore it. Inside a closet, he finds a ladder-like stairwell leading into a secret hidden room. As he crawls in, you find that it doesn't look like any old attic, unfinished with cobwebs and stacked with unruly odds and ends. Instead, the attic looks well finished with wooden walls, light fixtures, and a nice clean space. It's like a sauna but air conditioned, Chad says. It does in fact look like a sauna. The room is rather large, with all wooden walls and even a couple of wooden benches. What was this super secret room used for? We can only guess. All I know is that I wouldn't mind finding this secret room in my new home. YouTuber named Jason L is rock climbing with his friend Kevin when they come across a narrow and claustrophobic crevice. Not wanting to get left behind, Jason follows Kevin's lead, but his resolve weakens considerably about midway through.
Kinda wishing we didn't come in here, Kevin. Why? I'm pretty terrified.
Barely 10 seconds later, Jason takes the worst step of his life.
Oh no.
Here, give me the camera.
My foot's stuck. My foot's stuck. I'm so serious, I can't move.
After some initial panic, he steps out of his shoe and manages to dislodge it. After some effort with both hands, look again and you can see what would have happened if Jason L had tripped and fallen forward. Instead of stepping out of his shoe, it's a sharp drop down a series of spiky rocks that could have easily resulted in shattered bones and an emergency airlift. A group of friends decide to go driving down a haunted stretch of road in Wisconsin to see if the rumors are true. Apparently, a spirit will eventually get in the car with you if you wander around for long enough. They make sure it's midnight just for good measure and set out for adventure. The plan is to basically get lost in the middle of nowhere and then park on the side of the road. They drive for a long time until they find a desolate section with absolutely no traffic and decide this is as good a spot as any. They turn out all of the lights and sit in total darkness for a while. After some nervous chatter, they decide to turn the lights on for a second and make sure everyone is doing okay.
Yeah, you look in the room. I can't see anything in the room. Well, maybe you'll see something. Do you see Eric?
A woman ghost wearing a bridal gown sits with them in the back. Missing are her nose, lips, and one eye, but that still doesn't stop her from giving a sickening smile to the camera. Nobody notices her until they review the video later and subsequently flip out. Hopefully the spirit stayed on the road that night and followed none of them home. Kevin LaShawn and his large group of friends feel fairly safe doing a 24-hour challenge in a mental asylum that's supposed to be haunted. They aren't expecting to find much, and for a while they don't. However, two experiments stand out in particular. First, they invite the ghosts to play a game of cards with them by setting up flashlights in a semicircle. The flashlights stay turned off during most of this experiment, but they do seem to repeatedly respond when one person in particular comes to the table. Perhaps this person has a natural tendency to attract spirits more than the others.
I guess they don't want you to play. Come over here and sit by me. They want you to play.
Whoa. These flashlights are turning on by themselves.
Later, Kevin is playing with an app on his phone that is supposed to communicate with ghosts when he gets some pretty interesting responses.
Is anybody in here? What's your name? My name's Kevin. What's your name?
Even if this app is programmed to say scripted phrases at random intervals, I do think it's odd that it says something similar to Kevin's name shortly after he introduces himself. Overall, Kevin is unable to verify that this location is haunted, though many of his viewers have decided it most likely is. Let me know what you think about this entry, and what other experiments Kevin and his friends could have done to summon any spirits. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. This video was published to YouTube in July of 2007 with the title, "Dragon was caught sight of by infrared rays." This video appears to show the ghostly smoky figure of a long creature fly through the air, from the top to the bottom of the frame. Modern scholars suggest that crocodiles might be the closest to resemble a dragon, and maybe what informed its imagery, or maybe this creature is something else completely, and just somewhat resembles a dragon. Nothing else like this has been caught on the security camera since. Zishan Sheikh is fooling people with a scream mask all night until he goes a little too far. He's sitting in the road with his back turned when he scares the driver of this vehicle unconscious. I don't know if it's staged or if this person had some kind of heart condition and passed out. I'm not even sure he is still alive at this point. Either way, this YouTuber cradles the person's body in his arms and prays. It's unclear what happens next. The fact that they immediately stopped recording makes me think this stranger's reaction could be real. When requesting that a spirit manifest itself, you'd better be ready. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by On Behalf of the Gesture. This is what happens when you provoke a ghost. After inviting a ghost in a giant empty warehouse to manifest itself, the Redditor asks the spirit not to scare him too badly. The ghost only heard the first half, appearing in the form of smoke or dust or vapor of some kind. It shocks the Redditor so much that he quickly backs up and turns to leave. He's lucky he did. Who knows what was waiting for him in the darkness? I have really no explanation for this one other than the paranormal, so that's what I'm going with. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known only as High claims to have caught a real jinn on camera while exploring an abandoned house that he knows is haunted. I can't tell if this is a gap in the curtains or a ghost in the window. He presses onwards and reaches the 2nd floor before things get beyond creepy.
يا حد
Something paranormal is making movements.
بسم الله
And staying one step ahead of the paranormal explorer at all times.
بسم الله بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء
The excited ghost hunter runs from room to room trying to keep up, praying for strength all the while. As the ghost apparently runs into a tall cabinet, I can't help but wonder if it's just as afraid as he is.
Bismillah!
Cornered and with nowhere to go, the spirit finally has to rely on its supernatural defenses to get out of there quickly.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. 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 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Scary noises are heard all around, doors shutting, cabinets opening, and soon a strange and bizarre paranormal mist floods the room. It's hard to say if this was real paranormal activity or dust kicked up from him throwing objects everywhere, but I think it's probably real and most certainly is creepy. This aerial footage was broadcast live during a period of bad weather in Hebron, Ohio. Take a look at this flooded neighborhood and tell me if you see anything abnormal lurking in the dirty brown water.
Here with storm specialist Carl Parker, so if you want to stay on and have a listen, Carl's been looking at
A worm-like creature appears to wind its way around a house shortly before the camera zooms out. While this could be an ordinary piece of driftwood from the way it's moving in the water, I wouldn't be surprised if the floodwaters caused some sort of giant parasite to emerge from the sewers below. These friends are talking in the kitchen when someone else pulls up a chair to join them. The only problem is, no one's there. When one of them finally notices that the chair is a full 2 or 3 feet away from the table, he's so startled that he doesn't even close the refrigerator. He just wants to get away fast, which is a realistic reaction for sure.
That chair move.
Of course, no one else in the group believes his bizarre story at first, but when they see it for themselves, their scared reaction are as legit as can be. I'll add that the fear and surprise on his face is readily apparent here too.
That chair move. You got say? Oh my God!
All of them are trying to come up with a rational explanation, and the best answer they have is that the man in a white shirt is somehow causing it to happen. It's true that the chair only seems to move when he is either approaching it or standing nearby. Just when they are beginning to calm down, a final event seems to confirm their suspicions.
Something's wrong with you, bro. Something's wrong with you.
Let me know what you think is happening here, and if you think this is a prank or the early stages of a spiritual possession. Reckful is a streamer and YouTuber, and in this video, he is live streaming in the streets of Japan. It's late at night and the streets are almost completely deserted. Reckful soon notices that he is being followed by a man wearing a surgical mask.
Wait, I'm on follow. I'm gonna flip the camera.
Reckful begins to look genuinely afraid as he stops himself from panicking. He ultimately decides to run when he turns the corner.
I'm running.
He eventually stops and confronts this potential stalker. It turns out this man is a fan of Reckful and was wanting to scare him as a joke. Reckful is still clearly shaken up from the incident while talking to his follower and his friend. Well, it turns out Reckful was in no danger. The confusion of being followed by a stranger is certainly frightening. It's 3 a.m. and a YouTuber by the name of KG Talik is ready to summon the spirit of Bloody Mary. He turns out the lights and calls for her, with nothing but a plastic hair pick on the counter to defend himself with. Upon the third recitation of her forbidden name, he sees movement from the corner of his eye. Something on the other side slaps and scratches at the shower curtain and then promptly vanishes. He shows the bottom of the tub to prove it's really empty. It takes all of his courage to stay in the room and resume the ritual, but he doubles down and says her name 3 times again. This time she is even madder than before.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
The shower curtain rustles as if someone is waiting on the other side, but when he pulls it back, once again no one is to be found. A scary and mysterious possible ghost sighting is caught on camera by a YouTuber in India named Moonbiker Nikhil. This creepy incident was caught on tape while passing through RA Colony, which he says has a pretty scandalous reputation to the point where everyone knows not to be walking by themselves at night near there. That's why he was surprised when this happened late at night. A mysterious figure on the road seems to clip through his mirror. Watch closely and you'll see that they should have made contact in his opinion, and I agree that it's awfully close. Tell me what you see, and more importantly, if this alleged ghost really has a missing head. There's something in this house, and they might be demons.
Hey! أعوذ بالله! أعوذ بالله!
The first one he captures on camera is pretty obvious, but he doesn't seem to see it. The second one is playing peekaboo.
Bismillah. 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 Hey!
And the last one.
أعوذ بالله!
Do you hear that roar? Well, I'm wondering what these creatures are. Most in the comments are chuffed at this dude's terrified scream. My vote is for demons, but it could be some other type of evil entity. Any ideas? If a disembodied voice tells you to leave, you should probably listen. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mads Entertain, the redditor was given a warning that might be worth heeding. As he and a friend enter an abandoned house, about 1 minute into the clip, a creepy old lady voice orders them to leave. They don't leave. Instead, they search the barren house up to the second floor. After exploring, the redditor is doing his outro when something bangs overhead.
If you're new to our channel, again, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for new content every Sunday.
It sounds like it's coming from upstairs. They hurry out of the house, and the redditor explains that they had to cut because after hearing that bang, they heard scraping against the walls and the sound of a door opening. Well, the voice had warned them. What did they expect? This deep web video features a disembodied head in a skeleton mask hovering over a single candle. He speaks in Spanish and uses a voice changer, but his tone makes it clear that he has only the worst intentions in mind. Unfortunately, other than the general creepy atmosphere of this video, I have no idea what is being said here. Listen to what he says and help me translate if you can.
Meu nome é Guiden e eu estarei te contando as histórias mais horripilantes deste planeta. Todo domingo, às 8 horas da noite. Não tenha medo.
Something about this makes me think that he is either making a confession or telling us about future plans. Let me know if I am right about this hunch, and if you think this video is real. Looks like zombies want to get out of bed every once in a while. Published to YouTube in October of 2011 by Underwater Ireland. This YouTuber sets out into a purportedly haunted graveyard in Ireland. The cemetery is innately creepy, with trees growing into steeple-like coverage as she enters. After exploring a bit, she sets up a camera to film overnight. What she manages to capture on film will send a chill down your spine. The gate opens in the middle of the night, no one is there. It doesn't appear to be windy. Then something flashes on the screen, it's hard to make out. As some in the comments point out, if you watch the clip in slow motion, you can see a ghostly demon face. It is quite clear if you manage to pause it at the right moment. Some say it looks like a skeletal hand, others a white orb spirit. What do you think it could be? Is this the zombie outbreak we've all been waiting for? Only one way to find out for sure. Japan knows horror. Here's a creepy clip from the Far East. Imagine approaching a traffic light only to run into this. A creepy woman at a pedestrian crossing in Sapporo, Japan, seems to be in a trance-like state. Halfway through the pedestrian crossing, she stopped to stare straight at oncoming traffic, completely unmoving. Although it's clearly the time to cross, as you can see other pedestrians using the crosswalk behind her, she is at a standstill, staring off unnervingly, causing the driver taking the video to wonder what in the world is going on. Even as the light changes, the woman continues to stand there in the middle of the road staring. The driver passes around her, capturing the woman on video, still frozen in place as they pass her by. What do you think is going on? The woman's behavior is unexplainable. Seems like something might be in the water in Japan. The last place you want to hear screaming is in a cemetery, in the darkness of night. That's what YouTuber Thrills heard when he was visiting Fox Island Cemetery, which is said to be haunted by a man in black. As they first enter the cemetery, they hear an unexplained hissing noise.
I will say the other camera is a lot easier to hold.
What the heck is that?
It's not that here, that's it.
And soon the screaming starts.
Did you hear it again?
Yeah, I just heard it.
After moving along, they hear the screaming a second time.
What is this right there?
I definitely just heard something, yeah.
And then a third directly after.
I definitely just heard something, yeah.
While this might be a wild animal or someone just hollering for the fun of it, it could also be the legendary man in black. I think he might just be toying with them.
A girl stacks cups while her siblings watch, but apparently something else is watching too, as a little doll rises up for a closer look. The way it sits up looks like somebody has to be hiding behind the television, but it doesn't look like there's enough space for anybody to comfortably fit behind, not even a child. Maybe they ran something through the back of the cabinet to make the doll sit up. If that's not the case, then I think it's probably time to board up that room and sell the house.
There's nothing more haunted than something that moves of its own accord, except maybe when it jolts aggressively of its own accord. Submitted to Reddit by Nick4566. This swing in India is not child's play. Nick writes, this was seen in a well-known city of India. The park is closed since a year as a lady took her own life here long back, and the park is not used by children. Watch the swing at the beginning of the clip flinging back and forth on its own. It's a bit unnerving already, but as some in the comments point out, someone might have pushed it before the person began filming. You probably thought that yourself, but watch further. The swing slows halfway through the video only to suddenly jolt back to life. Flinging aggressively back and forth. The leaves in the surrounding trees are barely fluttering, so none of this could be due to wind or nature. It's completely supernatural. Could the spirit of the woman who took her life still be here? And why is she swinging? We may never know. What would you do if you heard intense screaming from an abandoned building? Post it to the Sir Spook subreddit. This video was filmed in an abandoned office. The clip shows the person filming climb up some stairs in a dark, very buggy building. Some eerie screaming and whistling is heard from somewhere beyond. As he continues through the building, entering another room, the agonizing screaming gets louder. He walks closer and closer to another room, but seems to have finally met something that scared him enough to flee, although I'm not sure why those screams weren't enough to begin with. Many in the comments agree that the screaming would have sent him running for the hills. Some even suggest that the Redditors should have called the authorities, as it sounds like someone was in distress. As Britain on Reddit noted, why were you going further? Redditor SRGB Ski remarks that it sounds like someone was being jumped and the filmer walked in on it. Any way you slice it, that sound certainly stays with you. Strange behavior from a stranger at night is enough to make your spine tingle. This video, published by Mostava El Press in April of 2010, begins with some intense music and a vehicle stopped on the side of a highway at night. At first, you may not spot what the people in the vehicle are looking at, but once they zoom in, you can see a figure moving on the railing at the side of the road. The figure is unclear and indistinct at first. It's hard to tell if it's a human being or something else, but what's clear is it's scary enough in reality for the men in the vehicle to back away. Later, someone gets out of the vehicle to film the creature. As it turns out, the figure does appear to be a human being dressed in white with long legs, walking across the railing in slow, deliberate movements. When it comes nearer, the man cries out in Arabic and runs away as fast as he can. You'll always remember your first encounter with a skinwalker, because it may just be your last. YouTuber Hype Mike published his encounter at Skinwalker Ranch. While they set up their cameras, you can already see something's not right. Look behind them. Later, as they're gathered around the barn, they hear a noise coming from above.
Right? Yo. What the f is that?
As they wander downstairs, they hear this.
What? Shh. What is that? What is that? Animal? Horses or something?
When they make it outside later, the flies warn them something evil is coming.
Dude, it's... Oh, I'm not going closer. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Something was...
Oh, stop!
Like disemboweled or something here.
While checking their cameras later, they find one was messed with.
There's nothing. The wall, it's like a corner. I put it in the corner. And the tripod's like as far back as it can go. Nothing can... Dude, what is that?
Look at the camera, it's moving.
Bro, what is going in the window? There was literally something in the window.
Was that a skinwalker? They're about to find out.
What? Is that the door?
The back door.
Was that
here?
Hold on. Wait. Just wait. Let me just take a look, okay?
Well, I'm not 100% sure that it was a skinwalker. It does look to me like something is stalking them, and it may not be human. High on Life is a YouTube channel that focuses on unique outdoor adventures from all around the world. Many different people help with the channel, and over the summer of 2018, 7 of them were making a video in Shannon Falls, Canada, when something terrible happened. They are hiking near a fast-moving pool system that is off limits to the public because it eventually opens up into a giant waterfall. Megan Scraper slips and falls in, then Riker Gamble and Alexi Lyok get swept away trying to save her. All 3 fall 98 feet to the depths below.
They were 3 of the warmest, kindest, most driven and outgoing people that you could ever meet.
I'm not sure how long it took for the rest of the group to realize 3 of them had mysteriously disappeared. All I know is that it takes rescue workers a long time to locate and airlift them out by 1. By then, it was sadly far too late for anything to be done to save them. I wanted to stress that I wish Megan, Riker, and Alexi no disrespect, and my deepest condolences go out to all of their families and friends. High on Life has bravely decided to continue as a channel, and I wish them the best of luck. A link to their memorial GoFundMe can be found in the description. I just want everyone to stay safe out there. Gabby Licht has seen a ghost. Published in September of 2018, Gabby shares her ghost story while also showing footage she captured on camera. The scary video shows the door of her room opening and closing slightly, back and forth. She also says the knob is jiggling.
When I had a ghost experience, but I'll put the video here. You can kind of see the handle just like wiggling back and forth, and it's kind of weird. It didn't freak me out that bad, but it's kind of strange to have it on video. I showed my parents and it freaked my mom out, but I've had other stuff happen, so it was just kind of interesting to get that one on video. But this next one, I guess...
Gabby has been experiencing the paranormal for something like 8 years now, and this is just one event she captured on video. Is something trying to communicate with her? It sure seems that way to me. The big question is, what is it saying? This video begins with a YouTuber named Hallie trembling in the corner while recording a toy car on the opposite end of the room. It's possessed, she declares in a timid voice. Eventually, she gets the courage to move across the room to record it up close. The car's lights are blinking rapidly and it's making a weird humming noise. Suddenly, it springs to life.
How do you shut it off?
I'm not sure if this is a remote-controlled car or not, but I don't think so because I don't see an antenna. Also, I think I see red buttons on the back for making sound effects, and Hallie wasn't touching any of those buttons. In fact, she was all the way across the room when it turned on by itself, so I really don't know how this could have happened. According to her, everyone else in the house was asleep. Definitely be sure to let me know what you think is happening in this video. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.